Welcome to House Habits with House Counsel. We want to continue empowering resilience and delivering practical solutions. To that end, today we're diving into the world of contract law and the core issues you should consider addressing. In business, it's crucial to have a written contract that clearly outlines the terms and conditions, such as milestones, payment terms, confidentiality obligations, termination. Although a verbal contract might be binding, you can just imagine some of the issues that can arise from misunderstandings. And although today we won't go into specifics of industry that require you to have contracts in writing in particular forms, for example, construction, home building act, the reality is you should always consider when you're in business putting your contract in writing. The second issue is to revise your contract utilizing a checklist. Preparing for reviewing your contract will ensure you cover off all your core expectations and the expectations of even the other party. For example, your checklist might include scope of work, timeline, intellectual property ownership, and dispute resolution mechanisms. Let's take a specific look at a software company that learnt the hard way, but a good example of what to watch out for. Peter Pan, not that Peter Pan. Peter Pan Adventure Travel, a company specializing in backpacker student adventure market, contracted iGEM Interactive to design, develop, integrate, and implement a software system. Unfortunately, it turned legal, ended up in the Queensland Supreme Court and dealt with two main issues. The first one was to do with the assignment of intellectual property. In this particular case, there was a great deal of complexity, especially around the initial apparent agreement by iGEM that Peter Pan Adventure Travel would own the IP, yet they used open source code to develop the software. It meant there was nothing really for them to own. So frustratingly, they went back to the supplier and had them develop additional code that was capable of being protected. Without getting into too much of the detail, the written contract that eventually came to fruition with lawyers outlined a clear express assignment of IP to Peter Pan. Ultimately, the court held that the IP was to be assigned to Peter Pan Adventure Travel or its delegate. We'll deal with some other IP issues and consider them in more detail in a later episode, but the second issue in this case was where hours were charged that were considered excessive. This one in particular goes to the importance of making sure your contract is clear, especially in service contracts. What exactly does it cover? Where is the risk allocated? You don't want to end up doing almost $1 million worth of work for free. So have a checklist and review the contract carefully. By following the checklist, you can ensure that every crucial aspect is addressed and minimize any misunderstandings. The third major consideration is risk allocation. You might have gathered from Peter Pan case that it's really important to look at risk, particularly when it comes to service hours. You might want to also look at issues of delay, software bugs, limitation of liability, indemnities, breaches of confidentiality. There's a host of things to look at. The contract should clearly define who bears responsibility in different scenarios. Allocate the requirement of making the software, for example, release ready, and require the supplier themselves to rectify any issues within a specific time frame. Finally, consider the need for a legal professional to review your contract. They can provide valuable insights, ensure you're compliant with various laws, and help protect your interests. So remember, firstly, memorialize your contract in writing. Secondly, revise and use a checklist. Thirdly, assess your risk allocation. And fourthly, ensure you look at whether you need a legal review. You'll be better placed to ensure you maintain good working relationships with suppliers, and you'll likely end up with a reduction in disputes. So thanks for joining me again today on House Habits with House Counsel. Until next time, and please don't forget to subscribe.